Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Whereas today, we're going to be taking a look at the Detroit Lions free agency period, what they've done so far, maybe some more moves that they could make in the future. From what it looks like our free agency period is kind of, coming to an end in terms of signing more players. I think that there is one guy in particular that I think has a really good chance of re-signing, so we'll get into that. We'll talk about the moves they've already made, and yeah, maybe some moves that they didn't make that we wish they would have. I think we all know where I'm going with that, Jamal Williams. So yeah, we're going to go through it, maybe give some grades out, and just kind of talk about it. So I'm sure most of you know that we went out and signed Cam Sutton, Manuel Mosley, and David Montgomery. So we're going to start by looking at Cam Sutton from Pittsburgh, who, when we signed this guy, I was so excited. Seeing Jalen Ramsey get traded to the Miami Dolphins really kind of it made me upset, knowing why are we not going after this guy? This guy would change our team. And then I think it was a day or two later, we went and signed this guy who, in my opinion, was probably one of the top cornerbacks that we could have gotten in free agency, top 3. And I think just overall, any cornerback that we could have gotten, this guy'd be in my top 3 to 5 for who I'd want. So when I saw that we signed this guy for $11 million a year, I was super happy. I was completely fine with it. He might not be as good as Jalen Ramsey, but he's going to do similar stuff to, what Ramsey does. I think he's a game changer like Ramsey. I think he basically is going to do exactly what Ramsey would have done for us. I think that this is almost basically just as good as getting Jalen Ramsey. So I'm very happy with this signing. He was a part of a really good Pittsburgh defense and probably one of their best players on that defense. Another thing that I think a lot of people really liked about this guy was when he had that press conference with the Detroit Lions, he really just started off with a really good impression. Him and I think Manuel Mosley both went up. They shook everyone's hand in the room. Super, easy to talk to, outgoing, down-to-earth guy. This guy is definitely going to be more of a leader on the team. He's going to have a big role. I think he's going to know that he's going to probably be the best player on this team defensively. So this guy's going to have a huge role for the team, and getting him for a 3-year deal, it's going to be huge for this Lions secondary because, as we all know, this secondary was horrible last year. I mean, it was probably the biggest reason for a lot of our losses. You look at games like the Seahawks, you look at games like the Miami Dolphins game, the Bills, just any game where we were giving up more than 30 points. It was 90% on our secondary, and the fact that we got this guy plus Emmanuel Mosley, and more than likely we're going to get another rookie too, it really makes me excited to see what this team's going to do defensively next year. He has pretty good stats as well. He doesn't get injured often, so there's pretty much everything's there. He's probably, if I had to say, I think he's graded at number 22 or something like that for cornerbacks in the NFL. I'd put him in the top 15 100%. I love this guy. I've known who he is in Pittsburgh for a long time now, and I've watched him. I've known what he can do. So really excited about getting this guy. In my opinion, like I said, probably a top 15 cornerback, but they have him listed as number 22. I think that's PFF that has him listed there, but it's going to be exciting to see what Cam Sutton brings to Detroit and how he upgrades this defense. And to go along with what I said about him being a leader, this guy's going to be able to help teach guys like Jeff Okudah, Jerry Jacobs, Chase Lucas. He's going to be able to help teach them and, improve their skills, get them better. So I really think this guy is going to be a huge attribute to this Detroit Lions defense and the team in general. Next up, we got Manuel Mosley. This guy's from San Francisco, which when I saw that we signed him from San Francisco, I was pretty excited because that defense over there, top 2 to 3 in the league easily. So I was super excited when I saw that we signed this guy. I didn't really know who he was, so I kind of went and researched around, found out who he was. He ended up going down with an ACL injury about 5 weeks into the season this year. But before he went down with that injury, he was having an amazing start to the year. I don't have the stats on me right now, but he did have a pick 6. And he was probably one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL at the time. He's a guy that can lock down any number 1 receiver. You can see him on DK Metcalf right there. He can play on anyone you want him to. So definitely a guy who, and we're only paying him for, I think it's $8 million for a 1-year deal, which is not a huge cap casualty or a huge cap hit. So I'm really excited about that signing, a guy who can help improve the secondary, another older guy who can help coach the younger guys. I think it was a great signing.
So this pickup actually probably changed a lot of people's mock drafts, because I know before this, and obviously the Cam Sutton signing as well, I think a lot of people were planning on taking at least one, if not two corners. Now it's kind of hard to tell, what they're going to do. I think they're still going to take a top rookie corner. But I think now the focus is more defensive line and linebacker, to be honest. I think those are our only two real positions of need, probably a backup quarterback as well, but we can also get that through the draft. Maybe a wide receiver if DJ Chark doesn't come back, but we'll see. But as you can see, this guy is a ball hog when he's healthy. He can go out, make plays, and be a huge help defensively. So I'm excited to see what this guy brings, because I really don't know what to expect. And it's kind of like the DJ Chark deal, last year. You get a one-year deal, you get to prove it, prove you're worth it. Maybe we re-sign him. And, DJ Chark obviously battled through injuries just like this guy is right now. So that's kind of why they're doing this little, 1 year prove it deal, which I think is awesome. I think it's a really smart thing to do. That way you're not, just paying a guy tons of money for him just to get hurt or, not be that good. So I definitely think that this was a great signing, and adds more depth with that cornerback position, like I said, which was such a big need. So Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. He's doubling up on our biggest position of need, and I think that right there is indicating that, he's doing everything he can to put every single position of need. He's trying to fill every single one of those positions to help make this team better, an actual contender this year. And like I said, this guy's a guy who can play on anyone in the NFL, any receiver you want him to. So I think that's also really exciting, to where we can count on him. Let's say Cam Sutton is hurt or, having a bad day. We can always count on Manuel Mosley to come in and at least make some plays or do something. And now we'll move on to David Montgomery out of the Chicago Bears. I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly who this guy is. We play him twice a year. I've had him in fantasy football a few times, I'm pretty sure, and he's always a guy that you can rely on to get you some nice fantasy points. So this guy's going to be probably one of my favorite pickups, because I know we still have DeAndre Swift, who kind of reminds me a lot of this guy, except this guy's actually a lot harder of a runner. He breaks more tackles. He's a lot smarter. He's got better vision. He knows what to do with the ball. He might not be quite as good as a receiver as Swift, but I'd say, the two are really similar. Super speedy, great guy that can, catch some balls out of the backfield, screen passes, or, he goes deep too. So, if you just watch this guy run, you can see that this guy is one of the better backs in the league, and for running behind that horrible Chicago offensive line this year, which, even for Chicago fans that I know have seen some of my videos, I think you guys even know that your offensive line was not great this year, but obviously they're going to improve that. But still, for him to have the stats that he has, I think he's only missed a maximum of 5 games every single, in his career, for one season. I think the max he's missed is 5 games, whereas Swift is missing, about half the season. So a guy that stays really healthy throughout his whole career. He's, I think, rushed for at least 800 yards in every single game, every single season of his career. So I know Chicago Bears fans are upset about losing this guy, but I cannot wait to watch this guy in Detroit. He is going to be awesome. So obviously we all know Jamal Williams will not be coming back to Detroit, which it hurts. It hurts me as well, knowing we're not going to get to see his face and, watch him play. It wasn't even really his play for me. It was just the dude's attitude and his way of just making everyone laugh. And that's something I'm going to really miss, because I think that's something that you need to have on a team. But to pay that same player who, sure, yeah, he had 17 touchdowns, and we can talk about those 17 touchdowns all day. Some people are going to have different opinions on it. For me, losing Jamal isn't going to impact on the field as much as, what I think a lot of people think, because I know those 17 touchdowns are a lot, but over half of those came from 1 to 2 yards out. He's not really a big play kind of guy. We can get 17 touchdowns from any running back in the league from 1 to 2 yards out. You know what I mean? So especially behind this offensive line, he only averaged about 4 yards a carry. I think a guy like David Montgomery is gonna completely thrive with this offense, and I cannot wait to see what he does. But we'll all miss Jamal. I think we all know that. But welcome, David Montgomery. We cannot wait to see you in a Detroit Lions uniform. This guy is a dog. Pairing him up with Swift, I feel like is going to be fun to watch. I'm not really sure how it's going to go. Obviously, Swift battles through injuries, so we'll see what happens with him. I do think we'll probably take a rookie running back this year in the draft as well. We'll see what happens with that. to be honest, I'm not really sure what Brad Holmes is really thinking about in the draft anymore, because he got so many good free agents. It's going to be tough for him to decide, what to do. But I think losing Jamal Williams, I do think that there's a really good possibility that we're going to take one in the draft. I don't think it's going to be Bijan, even though I would love him, but we'll move on. So this signing actually occurred a little bit after I started recording this video, so I just added this in. But CJ Gardner Johnson, I think this is a guy that all true Lions fans out there who know the NFL, know all the players, and know who this guy is, I think we're all just completely ecstatic. And to only get him for $8 million a year, and I know it's a 1-year deal, but man, this is exciting. And I forget I think Manuel Mosley I can't remember exactly what it is, if it was $6 million or $8 million. I think it was $6 million a year. This guy, I'm also very positive that it was about $8 million a year just for a 1-year deal. Get to come here, get to prove it, get to prove you're a leader, and show us what you can do. And this is a guy who was tied for the lead, the most amount of interceptions in the NFL this year. He had 6 of them. So this is going to be a guy who's going to be a captain of our defense. He's going to lead. He's going to lead those young guys like Kirby Joseph. Him, Tracy Walker, and Kirby Joseph are all going to thrive out there. And if you guys didn't know, I'm sure some of you are wondering, how are we going to play Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker, and CJ Gardner Johnson? I'll tell you why. Aaron Glenn, our defensive coordinator, he loves to run 3 safeties in at once. So I can almost promise you, you're going to see all 3 of those guys in at once, here and there. So it's going to be fun to watch. CJ Gardner Johnson, definitely going to be our best player defensively. I think him and Aiden Hutchinson are going to have huge years this year and probably be like the biggest points of our defense that really just change our team and make the biggest impact on the team defensively, at least. So super excited for that. And I mean, when I saw that we signed this guy, I didn't really believe it at first, to be honest with you. It was more kind of just like, this has got to be fake. Like, there's no way. But yeah, he is ours. So other than those big signings, we also re-signed a couple of guys. Some of those would include Isaiah Buggs, Alex Anzalone, and John Kaminsky. Those were all really big re-signings. Signing Alex Anzalone back was big because we needed some more guys at linebacker, and he also had a huge year this year. Isaiah Buggs, we need some more defensive line depth, and he also had a great year. And then obviously John Kaminsky, more depth at the edge spot, and he had a great year as well. He was, I think, 3rd on the team in sacks behind Houston and Hutch, so he also had a big year. But those are the only 3 re-signings that were free agents that I can remember. Obviously, Jamal Williams is gone, and this video is going to be coming out before DJ Chark has made his decision on where he's going, so he could also come back to the Lions, and if he did, that would be awesome and a huge re-signing. So we'll wait to see what happens with him. I'm not really sure yet, but yeah. So love all those re-signings, especially all the signings as well. Super excited to see all those guys back in Detroit and all the new guys, so we'll see what happens. And obviously looking at the guys like Jamal Williams, DJ Chark, Evan Brown, the guys who did not re-sign with the Lions, it sucks that, especially Jamal Williams, I know we're all going to miss him. We're going to miss seeing his face and his attitude around here. DJ Chark was a big one for me because he was fun to watch last year while he was healthy. He actually ended up being a huge part of our offense down towards the end of the year. So it sucks not having him anymore. And then Evan Brown, adds depth to that offensive line. He actually had a solid year. I wouldn't say a great year, but for being a backup, he was serviceable. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support lately, and make sure to like, subscribe if you can, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.